Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hello, my name is Sarah and I'm so glad that you clicked on today's video. Today we're going to be doing another episode of recent reads where I talk about the last 3 books I've read and if I liked them and what I think. So I'm actually refilming this video because in the past I've had a major issue saying the word as a filler word in between everything I say, and I feel like I kicked it for a long time and now it's back. So I was listening to myself do it and I couldn't even edit it. So we're going to start from scratch with the last 3 books I read. So these were the last 3 books in my summer reading list that I had scheduled for those, that time. I don't really do themed books, but for summer, I feel like you have to read all the summer books. I'm a big romance reader. It's the only genre I really read, so these are all romance books. I'm not gonna give away spoilers necessarily, but when I talk about the ones that I didn't like or why I didn't like them, I will say why. So if you're not really into knowing about the book and stuff before you read, maybe don't watch this video. I have to know what's happening in the books and all the things, so that's kind of why I do these. So a book that I read in mid-August was Shipped by Angie Hockman. I really enjoyed this one and I gave it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 for me is on the lower end, but not bad. It's just it was lacking something. In my first video, when I first filmed this, I had all the books with me so I could just read the back, but I'm not taking them back off because as you can see, my shelves are kind of styled and I have to pull them out of the thing and it's a whole situation. So we follow Henley Evans in this book and her arch nemesis Graham. Henley works at a small cruise ship company, like a travel agency, and there's a marketing job up for grabs, and her boss decides that it's going to be her or Graham, and they've had beef for a long time. So they have to go on a trip to the Galapagos, and on this trip they are writing a report on how they can increase tourism in the Galapagos. So they both have to pitch these ideas to their boss, and in the process, I guess you probably know what happens. I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I thought it was a little bit cheesy. It definitely was hating game-esque. It followed very much so the idea of the hating game, so I thought it was a bit of a cheap shot in that sense. But if you think about it independently, I would give it a 5 out of 5. But I just kept thinking, wow, this is a lot like the hating game. Wow, this is a lot like the hating game. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 for that reason only. But if you want just a warm, beachy read with a cute romance, and actually the ending is pretty dramatic. I was very into the ending. So yeah, there's a lot, it focuses a lot more on the work side than the relationship side. You do see a lot more of them working and how they work and their plan for increasing tourism and stuff. So it's not all, it's a lot less lovey-dovey than other romance books, but I really ate this up, finished it super fast, and I loved it a lot. The next book I read is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is the first Tessa Bailey book I've ever read. It's right up here actually. I loved it. I forgot to mention, Shipped is not very steamy, so if you're not into steam, then that's a pretty good book for you. But Tessa Bailey, I didn't realize how steamy she was. She's very steamy. This book had multiple sex scenes in it. Some of them included butt stuff. I was like, whoa, okay. But in this book, we follow Piper Bellinger. This is the first book in the Bellinger sisters series, and I guess she'll be making one more because there's only 2 Bellinger sisters. But we follow Piper, who is inspired by Alexis Rose on Schitt's Creek, and she is a party girl, lives a lavish life, and her stepdad decides she needs to be humbled, so he sends her back to her father's hometown, and she gets to kind of relive this life that she never really thought was her. She gets down and dirty. She meets a fisherman named Brendan, and they hate each other at first, but obviously we know what happens. But I think the story is deeper because it follows how she became more humble and helped herself through, this tough time, and kind of grew as a person, just like Alexis did in Schitt's Creek. So I definitely loved this book, especially if you think about it from Alexis, the Alexis point of view. Some people said they hated it because they thought that Piper was too shallow, but I really didn't think she was shallow the whole time at all. I thought she was, at the beginning, kind of. But I gave this a 4 out of 5. And I gave it a 4 out of 5 and not a 5 out of 5 because it was very cheesy, spoiler-ish. Every time Brendan pulled her into a hug, she called it the recharging station. His arms were her recharging station, and I just wasn't into that. I felt you could just say hug, it was overused. Recharging station was on every other page type of thing, so that wasn't really my thing. And for that reason, it was a bit cheesy, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. So the last and final book in my summer reading collection was Wait For It by Jenn Mckinlay. I loved this one a lot. I think it covered a lot of deeper stuff. It covered like health issues and second chances and all that stuff. We follow Annabelle, who has been married twice and divorced twice before the age of 30, and she's just looking for a fresh start. She's a freelance graphic designer, and her best friend runs a marketing or I guess like an advertisement company, and she offers her like her dream job, and she ends up staying in the guest house of a much bigger mansion of a guy who she believes to be a grumpy old man. He like doesn't like that she uses the pool and like doesn't want her to touch his stuff, but then she meets him and realizes that he's this like strapping, handsome young man. And there's a lot of deeper stuff though than just the romance, and that's really what I like about romance. I like when it covers more than just like these two characters are gonna like have sex and fall in love. So I really enjoyed that one as well. So I gave that one a 4 out of 5, again because it was really cheesy. Minor spoiler, he calls her goddess instead of like babe or love or baby. He just says goddess, and I just think that's weird. Like, you don't, I don't know, it seems like you wouldn't use that all the time. Like, I wouldn't use that in real life. But yeah, so those are the 3 books that I most recently read. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we're getting more. These are all, I didn't choose like a theme for this year, like for this season, like for fall. Like none of the books are fall like related, I don't think. But I'm currently reading Bet the Farm. This is my first book by this particular artist or writer. I don't remember her first name. Something Hart. I'm not in love with it, but I don't know. Maybe my opinion will change. I don't know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, everyone.